Hi, this is Tag again, and today I want to do a bit of a combo video of a modding guide and a sort of invitation to another competition on HWBot. Now this time it is a low clock challenge, so basically a efficiency competition. The benchmarks chosen are SuperPi 32M on Wolf the 6M, so a E8400 or 8500, 8600. Something like that. You're probably going to want to run at the lowest possible multiplier you can to get the highest FSB, to get more efficiency and more memory clock anyways. CPU frequency limit is 4 GHz, as you can see here. And you're basically going to be able to achieve this on any semi-decent Wolftail 6M on ambient. So that's the nice part about this. Though I expect that in this stage you will want a DDR3 board, so it's not really all that cheap to join if you want to completely join from nothing, basically. That's why I like the second stage better, this here. This is also limited to a frequency that you can achieve in ambient easily, and it's limited to Prescott Celerons. Now, Prescott Celerons are super cheap, and you are not going to get enough bus speed out of them to warrant a DDR3 board, I think. So you're probably best off here with a DDR2 board, which are also pretty cheap. And in specifically, I would recommend something like the P5K series. Again, as you know, I kind of like P5Ks by now. So obviously it's going to not have as much performance as an X series chipset. So you might also want to pick up like an X38 DDR2 board if you find one cheap enough. So yeah, basically here the main problem would be, without any hard mods, that you are going to run at a multi around 20. So you can't really reach high memory speeds, and PyFast is a benchmark that scales with memory, not as much as SuperPi 32M here, but quite a bit. So there is a little trick to basically make the CPU think it's overheating in order to run lower multipliers. So this is what the video is basically going to be about. I'm obviously going to leave you a link to this competition in the description so you can check it out for yourself and maybe participate. So let's open up the Intel datasheet for Pentium 4s. There we go. The proc hot or processor hot. I love the creative names from Intel engineers here. It's a pin that is basically designed, originally it was designed anyways, to basically tell the motherboard that the processor is too hot, but they implemented it in a way that it can also tell the processor that the VRM is running too hot around the Pentium 4 era. So basically what we are going to do is, as you can see, is asserted when maximum overrun temperature. So basically it means if it's pulled low, let me can create this exactly voltage regulator temperature here and activate when blah 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 pulled low. There we go. That's the important part. When this proc hot pin is pulled low, so shorted to ground, the processor will run at a lower VID and multiplier. Now, the VID part isn't really relevant for us, but it is going to run at the X14 multiplier once you pull it low, provided you have this thermal monitor 2 up here enabled in BIOS. But more on that later when I actually get a test set up for you. So doing this mod is, as far as mods that I usually do on this channel, goes pretty easy because you can see here is our proc hot. That's the pin we want to short, and there's a VSS pin here and a VSS pin here. So this is one of those mods where I'm actually not gonna break out the soldering iron or a datasheet of a motherboard or anything. I'm just going to casually bridge these two pins together with conductive paint. And that's it. And that actually works. I tested this before I filmed this video in kind of a rudimentary way. So I'm going to do this in a way that I think is relatively easy to replicate for you in this video as well. I'm just going to grab some conductive paint and a Celeron and show you how this works in a way that you are unlikely to short any of the other pins to this proc hot and thus to ground. Now, in theory, you can do this on your motherboard. In that case, you just want to search for your proc hot pin and pull up a board view of your motherboard and trace it down to, usually it's a resistor around 200 ohms or so, pull up resistor outside of the socket area, and there you can just grab it and put a jumper. You know what? I have a Rampage Extreme open here from when I was messing with this. So let's resize this and show you how it looks on a Rampage Extreme. There we go, that's the proc hot pin. And you can see, you can either grab it on this resistor, 120 ohm resistor here, pull up to VTT, okay. Or you can grab it down here somewhere on a little transistor that's basically, I think this is actually the transistor that would signal that the VRM was overheating if implemented correctly, which I don't know if it is on the Rampage Extreme. But anyways, you can just grab this and put a little jumper or switch to ground there, and then you can switch it on and off during operation. I don't think it's necessary at all. Because even if you have it permanently, unfortunately the CPU still does its initial post at the higher multi. So you want a low multi CPU so it can sort of post at like 200 FSB, which would be like 3.8 gigahertz on the lowest multi CPU, which should be doable on air. And after that it would immediately switch down to 2.8 gigahertz, so the X14 multi basically. Anyways, this is enough theoretical rambling, I think. Let's move on to the bench and actually mod a CPU.
Okay, so here we are. This is basically what I would recommend you do. This is just a bunch of Kapton tape to shield the surrounding pads. Now you don't have to use Kapton tape here, you can just use regular old like Scotch tape and it will be fine. But without this, it's kind of hard to paint only the two pads I mentioned. So one of the ground pads, you can also switch it around, and the proc hot pad. So then you just take your conductive paint, same stuff you would use on like Athlon XP modding, and just paint it. This is really, as far as my guys usually go, really simple. Just paint these two. There we go. And done. Now, there are some quirks with actually running these, so I'm going to, once this focuses and you can see. So there we go. Now let's pull off this little stencil we made here. There we go. Stencil is gone, and you should see that only our two pads and nothing else is shorted. There we go, very nice. So let's move on to the bench then, and you will see this thing in action. Okay, so here we are with our test setup. I choose X48 for this, because with X48 there is one more feature. On P35 basically all you have to make
sure is that your CPU is capable of posting high enough clocks to run the 200 megahertz FSB. So in this case, this is X21's multi-CPU. I would recommend you get the lower one if you get something for this competition. I think there's X19, the Celeron T326, I think. Unfortunately, I have exactly 2 Celeron CPUs right now because I basically threw out all my Celerons from the large 775 volts because I did not think I would ever bench them because they're not fun to properly bench. And they're not worth any points either, so I just threw them out. So the setting, basically, let me quickly go over this. It's just your basic stuff. 200 for post. Actually, let's do 201 to make sure it's running at the right strap, basically. For 400 megahertz, so 1 to 2 memory multi. C4. 2.4 volts on the memory, 1.6 on the CPU. So the important setting here is your TM function here. By default it's on auto, you have to set it to enabled, but let's see what happens if it stays on auto. So just escape without saving and boot this thing, and you will see that our CPU does not accept the lower multiplier, so the X14. It will run at X22, 21 I mean. Okay, there we are. Background already loaded up, ready for the competition. And not that, that's the important tab here. As you can see, X21. Now, there's also a couple bugs here. Both IDA64 and HW Info will start to freak out once you do the mod, basically. Once you enable the mod, rather, I should say. So here you can see it's reading CPU frequency pretty much spot on. Also the BIOS will also freak out. You will see the post screen later. Now here everything seems fine. X21, and once I said X14 it gets wild. I don't know why it does that, but let's show you. Let's restart this. Enable our TM. Okay, advanced CPU configuration, TM function enabled. Now if your BIOS does not have this option and only has auto and disabled, I haven't yet found a way to make it work. So keep that in mind. If I do, I will update you guys, obviously. But basically that's something I found out when I tested the i975 board. X48 works, P35 works out of the box. So basically, I would say P35 is the most beginner-friendly chipset. If you're just going to buy a board for this competition, just grab a P5K, grab a Celeron. Both of them are probably going to set you back like, I don't know, 15 euros. Combined, not each. So that would be my recommendation if you're going to get basically buy something just for this 201 again and redo. Now it should freak out at the post screen already. You will see some nice frequency here. There you go, 6.4 gigahertz. In reality it's running 2.8, but I find this kind of funny. It just messes up all sorts of readings because, well, obviously it was never intended to be used that way. It is a safety feature, not really a overclocking feature. I'm just kind of misusing it. So let's boot this. It will probably take longer. If you see this in the video, you can time the time it takes to boot. My guess is it takes significantly longer now. Okay, CPU Z, there we go. See, zoom in. We're running at 2.8 gigahertz, and let's see what HW Info says. Probably some weird stuff. My guess is like somewhere between 5 and 6 gigahertz. Never really know with these. 4.2. Interesting. That's a new one. Last time it said like, I don't know, something really high. But it displays the X14. It just makes up the bus clock on the fly, I guess. Okay, so let's overclock this. Easy enough. I would recommend, obviously because you post at the higher multi, to post the lowest FSB you can to be in the right strap. So just over 200 is perfect. And from there you can just go up. I'm doing like small steps each, like this. It should be fine. Now your final FSB will be about 257 with this. Let's set it to 257.5. I think that is last step that still works. There we go. We got, actually maybe we have one more step. Let's see. Limit is 3610. Yeah, there we go. We want 608. And let's do some memset. Oh, I forgot. I think this might do 1T because it's X series chipset. But let's do some crusty settings. Just to 12, just to 2, just to 4, I think. Yeah, did freeze, all fine. Cool. Now this is your, this shouldn't be the batch itself, this should be just the link. Let's set options, set full screen, apply, okay, go. Zoom you out a bit. Not sure what this is going to be. I never ran this before on X series chips. That this is first time for this video now. I just ran P35 before because it's more convenient. And honestly, way, I don't know, more consistent. I start to like P35 more and more in recent times because it just seems bulletproof, to be honest. Kind of a modern 440BX. I have no idea if it's good or bad. I can't remember the subtimes from previous runs. But it will definitely be below 1 minute, I think. Yeah. Eh. No. How does this work? Maximize? No. I have no fucking clue. Yeah, great. So apparently I have no clue how to restore Windows from full screen. Oh, like this. Got it. Apply to current window. Okay. There we go. I'll just scroll down to our result and ready. So, as you might have guessed, I've never run full screen before because I don't usually run stuff that's slow enough to warrant this little tweak. But apparently it helps, as you can see. Yeah, I'm not gonna sub the score anyways, I think. So, I think you should have HW info open for the competition, I'm not sure. But again, I missed that chance. Or should we redo a score? Let's do it. Score legit. Come on, why not? I have the time. Okay. Now legit, obviously with wrong monitoring because HW info is a piece of crap. But there you can see now it's 5.4. Let's just keep the multi in frame, I guess. Move this here. Actually, let's try something else. Let's terminate Explorer as well. Properties. How was it? Full screen, okay. It's still like that. We can't do Explorer tweak because it's a bad ride. Okay, then just like this, I guess. You can probably do a lot of other things, but I'm by far not as good with like Windows and shortcuts and shit like that as I am with hard modding. So I'm just going to run it like this. Let's see, I think last was 59.61, right? So I would expect it to be slightly slower because HW info running in the background, but not sure. Really should remember those times. But yeah, haven't run it often enough for that. 63, yeah, I think that's slower. So how was it? Bypass, properties, window, okay. Current window only, close the task manager, get the bypass, put it, I don't know, right here. There we go. 3.607, and I guess you can sort of use the HW info to see that you didn't change anything during the run or something. I don't know. Seems kind of pointless with this because it freaks out completely. Not gonna lie. So let's put this up here, and just to help the others running this competition, I'm going to also put my mem set on the screen and capture. There we go. Successful run. Valid for the competition and everything. So if you want to join this, basically take this as an example screenshot and you are definitely good. I'm still not sure if the HW info is required, but it doesn't really hurt our performance that much. It's like 20 milliseconds or something like that. So yeah, that's about it. I hope some of you will join me and a lot of other HW bot overclockers in this little funny competition in the Celeron stage or in the regular Core 2 Duo E8400 stage. Well, E80 any 100, but for that stage E8400 is enough, and for this stage I would recommend a Celeron D326 that should have a X90 multi, and I think most chips should post 3.8 GHz on air or water, no problem. So it should be a competition where you don't need any kind of extreme cooling or super pin chip. Maybe super pin memory, depending on how hard the people participating are going with memory. But yeah, I would say it's a nice introduction to legacy stuff. So yeah, bye.